It's time to take another stroll down Nostalgia Alley to revisit some of the shows from British television of the 1970s that many of us may not remember. This is 10 Forgotten British TV Shows of the 70s. A cult children's television fantasy drama that ran for 3 series between 1970 and 1972, Ace of Wands has long been one of the most requested series by Stuview TV viewers to feature in a video such as this. The show's main character, Taro, played by Michael MacKenzie, was a magician who possessed real supernatural powers. Each week he faced an array of TV Batman-style villains, and in the first 2 series at least, was assisted by Sam, played by Tony Selby, and Lully, played by Judy Lowe. In the 3rd and final series, these characters were replaced by Chaz and Petra. Unfortunately, the entirety of the first 2 series is now missing, with only the 3rd series surviving. This is available on DVD, but becoming ever harder to find. Comedy panel show Joker's Wild ran for a healthy 9 series on ITV between 1969 and 1974. Hosted by comedy great Barry Cryer, the series saw 2 teams of comedy stars battling it out to tell the best jokes on a given subject. Guests included some of the all-time greats like Les Dawson, Ted Ray, Arthur Askey, Jack Douglas and Sid James.
This is my story. That, the United Nations decided that finally... Now, shut up, listen. Now, listen. They decided that they finally had to select from one of the nations who was going to be the first astronaut to Mars. So, out of that came Italy. So, Italy was going to be the nation that was going to supply the astronaut to Mars. So, the Pope is standing there in the square. Oh, shut up a minute. And there's 35,000 Italian pilots all down there below him, and the Pope stands there and he says, "Gentlemen, it is a great honor for Italy, and we're going to sort out the astronaut. I will pluck a feather from my hat and cast it into the air, and whoever it falls upon will be the first astronaut to Mars." And he turned his back and said a little prayer and didn't hear anything. So he said another little prayer and he still didn't hear anything. And he turned round and he looked down and there were 35,000 pilots all going...
Objection! Objection!
Well, what do you mean objection?
Mr. Dawson is raising an objection. Sydney, I have to ask you, what's that got to do with shoplifting?
Well, he lifted my bloody stool.
You've got to hand it to Sid. If you don't, he'll take it anyway. 5 points. 5 points to Sid.
Unlike many of today's comedy panel shows, the stars of Joker's Wild were naturally funny, without the smugness, insincerity and self-satisfaction you often see on TV panel shows today. Those on Joker's Wild were there to make people laugh, plain and simple. The first 2 series of Joker's Wild were released on DVD, but are hard to find. You can catch a few episodes right here on YouTube. The Feathered Serpent may well be the most forgotten series of all the shows featured on today's list, but it absolutely deserves a mention. Just watching the opening credits today, you could be forgiven for thinking this was a series for adults, but The Feathered Serpent was actually a children's fantasy drama that ran for 2 series on ITV between 1976 and 1978. The opening credits likely scared the living daylights out of many children watching at the time. Can you imagine something like this today? Set in ancient Mexico, the series starred former Doctor Who Patrick Troughton as the fanatical High Priest Nazca, and future sitcom star Diane Keane as the beautiful Empress Chimalma. The sets and costumes were surprisingly lavish for a children's series, adding to its unique appeal. It's a show that, while forgotten by most today, certainly left an impression on those who did see it. The Feathered Serpent is available on DVD and can be seen here on YouTube, although the quality of these uploads is poor. An almost completely forgotten Thames TV cookery show from 1971, hosted by horror film legend Vincent Price. Yes, you heard that right, horror maestro Vincent Price. In addition to acting, Vincent was also a renowned gourmet, which actually made him the perfect host for this series. Each week on Cooking Pricewise, Vincent would cook dishes from around the world, quite a rarity in the days when most British people's tastes were more homegrown and basic. A paperback book was released to coincide with the series, and if you have a copy, keep it safe. It's now pretty rare and worth a considerable amount of money. I've tried to track down some clips from this little curio of a series, but unfortunately have had no luck in my search so far. If you were a kid during the 1970s, General Hospital was one of those series you likely watched in the afternoon whenever you were off sick from school. Not to be confused with the American TV soap of the same name, this General Hospital ran between 1972 and 1979. For the first 3 years it was broadcast twice a week on weekday afternoons. In 1975 it moved to a prime-time evening slot and the episodes extended from 30 to 60 minutes. The show had a more homely feel compared to the grittier medical dramas of today, with familiar faces such as Tony Adams, Lynda Bellingham and Carmen Munro passing through the hospital's doors over the years. Despite its subject matter, General Hospital was quite a comforting watch, like a warm bowl of soup on a chilly day. Many episodes can be seen on YouTube, while Series 1 is available on DVD. The vast majority of you will remember the Carry On films, of course, but how many recall TV's Carry On Laughing? This 1975 ITV series consisted of 13 self-contained episodes, all set in historical contexts. It starred many of our Carry On favourites, including Sid James, Barbara Windsor, Joan Sims, Kenneth Connor, Bernard Bresslaw and Peter Butterworth. However, it wasn't as well received as the films, with the humour often feeling rather forced and laboured. The best episodes were the 4 to feature Sid James, and those that parodied the popular drama series Upstairs Downstairs. If you enjoy the Carry On films but have never seen the TV series, then I would still recommend you give it a go. Just lower your expectations a bit. Episodes of Carry On Laughing are available as extras on many Carry On film DVDs. What setting could be more apt for a 1970s variety show than a northern working men's club? The Wheeltappers and Shunters Social Club was an ITV variety show broadcast between 1974 and 1977. Hosted by the now controversial comic Bernard Manning, the show had a mix of now forgotten acts and big stars such as Roy Orbison, Gene Pitney and the 3 Degrees. Most people who watch the show will remember the brilliant Colin Crompton as the club chairman, who'd ring his fire bell before making various club announcements, usually to do with the committee. The series also gave early television exposure to the likes of Paul Daniels and Cannon Ball. The Wheeltappers and Shunters Social Club remains a unique snapshot of British entertainment from a bygone era. Episodes can be seen on YouTube and DVD. Target was an action detective series that ran for 2 seasons on BBC One between 1977 and 1978. Starring Patrick Mower as Detective Superintendent Steve Hackett, Target was made by the BBC as a potential rival to ITV's hugely popular series The Sweeney. The show featured plenty of car chases, door-kicking, fist-fights and gun-wielding action. However, it was heavily criticised at the time for its high levels of violence, which led to the first series being cut short. Despite the controversy, the series had its fans, and 2 tie-in novels were published. If you like a bit of gritty detective action, Target might be right up your alley. However, the majority of episodes are now very hard to find online, and the series is not currently available on DVD. The Duchess of Duke Street might not be as forgotten as other series featured today, but it's still often overlooked when it comes to period dramas of the 1970s. The series starred Gemma as Louisa Layton, a working-class Cockney girl who becomes a renowned cook before becoming the proprietor of an upper-class hotel in Duke Street, London. Based on the real-life exploits of Rosa Lewis, the so-called Duchess of Jermyn Street, who ran London's Clarendon Hotel, the show was a huge hit, attracting regular audiences of 12 million. The series had all the elements of a great period drama: romance, ambition, and a touch of the upper crust. If historical drama is your thing, The Duchess of Duke Street is worth revisiting. You can watch it on DVD and YouTube. The Protectors is one of the lesser-known live-action series from puppet master Gerry Anderson, the man behind Thunderbirds, Stingray and Captain Scarlet. This action-packed series starred the great Robert Vaughn, Nairi Dawn Porter and Tony Anholt. It followed the exploits of an international organisation formed to protect those in peril. The series was full of sleek cars, exotic locations and great guest stars. It also boasted the fabulous theme tune Avenues and Alleyways, performed by Tony Christie. The Protectors ran for 2 series between 1972 and 1974 and is a hidden gem in the Gerry Anderson catalogue. You can watch The Protectors on DVD, YouTube and ITVX. And there you have it, 10 forgotten British TV shows of the 70s. I hope this trip down memory lane brought back some fond memories, or perhaps introduced you to a few hidden gems from the decade. Are there any other forgotten British TV shows from the 70s that you would like to see featured in future Stuview TV videos? I'd love to hear your suggestions in the comments. As always, thanks for watching and helping keep those memories alive. Do join me next time for more nostalgic goodness.